Hi everybody, my name's Lucas. My wife and I, we operate a small home-based crafting business here on the west coast of Newfoundland, a beautiful place, NL. And we started making homemade soaps, custom hardwood jewelry, bentwood rings, as well as sea glass jewelry. But one thing we really noticed is that in the area we live in, a lot of people like custom engraved things. So about a year ago, I got into laser engraving a little bit. I bought a small little 5-watt unit. It's been great. We've been able to engrave on slate, doing coasters, engraving our own jewelry. But the other thing we noticed is that it was a little limited in what we wanted it to do. So I've really been looking into getting a bigger laser that could expand our products, engraving on glass, stainless steels, and just to be able to do bigger and cleaner cuts in some of our materials. So our friends here at Creality have been able to send me a much nicer unit, so a shout out to Creality. If you've never heard of them, they're well known in the 3D printer world, but if you didn't know, they also create and manufacture laser engravers. So this here that we have today, it's an exciting day, is the Creality Falcon 2 22-watt laser unit. This unit is available in a 40-watt unit as well, and I believe the original Falcon comes in a 5-watt or a 10-watt unit. So the purpose of this video today is to take you through the unboxing process of the Creality Falcon 2 22-watt laser, and hopefully right into our first project. So we'll see how easy that is, how long it takes, and we'll see some of the features of this machine as well. So let's get started. Alright, so first of all, this unit is much bigger than the little 5-watt unit I have had for the last year. I would say the box measures close to 3 feet by 2 feet. When I was researching the Creality Falcon 2, it looks like the engravable area is about 415 by 400 millimeters, roughly about 16 by 16 inches. So let's see how the box comes packaged and how the unit is assembled inside. Alright, hopefully my table's big enough. So here it is, nicely packaged. So it looks like we have an operating guide, a little quick sheet, operating sheet. Looks like we got troubleshooting workflow on the back. Inside the box we have our laser module here. Set that aside for now. Here's our green safety goggles for laser protection. Looks like they sent some stickers in with the packaging. That's a nice feature. And here's our quick guide assembly booklet. Looks like it's in Chinese as well as English. So in case you were wondering, Creality is based in Shenzhen, China. And as I mentioned before, they are very well known for their 3D printers. They've sold a lot of units. They have a good reputation with their 3D printers. When I was doing my research into purchasing or acquiring a larger laser engraver, I was really intrigued with this Creality Falcon 2, so I'm really excited to give this a shot. Here's our power source. Now this unit also comes with an integrated air pump. Now, if you're new to the laser engraving world, I consider myself a newbie as well. I've only been doing this about a year. But when I first got my 5-watt unit, I did not have a laser, or the air assist for the laser. But I did purchase one aftermarket afterwards. And when I added that to the machine, I did notice much cleaner engraving and cuts as well. So the laser air assist pump for the laser makes a big difference. I highly recommend using it, especially if you're doing a lot of cutting. It makes a much cleaner cut. Looks like we have some testing material, maybe some 3mm plywood. We have some risers, extra risers for, oh, that's a good feature, awesome. So we have some risers for the legs. They look about like 2-inch risers. Here's the padded legs. Here's the cord for our power supply. Some tools, little toolkit for the assembly it looks like. Looks like there's also an SD card and a USB adapter. So we'll see what those are for in a minute. And that looks like all the small pieces, and it looks like the frame comes fully assembled. So we'll get this frame out. Get it set out onto the table. All right. Now this looks amazing because it looks like there's very little assembly involved. And you will probably be seeing my cat in this video because he loves boxes. Alright, that looks like all our pieces. So if we look at our quick start guide, let's see if we have all of our included products. So we have the frame, the laser module, our glasses, our power module, our air assist pump, our risers, our tools. It looks like everything's here. So as mentioned, everything looks like it's pretty well assembled already. We have our legs to put on. I'm not going to go ahead and put the risers on right away. I'll just add the 4 little legs. So on the bottom of this unit, we have pre-threaded holes for our legs. And it looks like there's, if you can see them here, 3 holes at each location. So it looks like we can adjust the stance of this. If you have a narrower table or a wider table, you can adjust the legs as necessary. So I'm going to put them in the middle for this table here, I think. Should fit here. There's one. There's 2. 3, and here's our last leg. The other thing I should mention about this, as I'm looking at it now, is all of our cables are managed very nicely. There's no loose cables hanging anywhere. The one thing I did notice when I was researching a lot of our laser engravers from different manufacturers, it always seems like there's cables that are hanging. I know even in the one I have, there's on the y-axis where the cables are attached to the unit, they do bind up a little bit. This cable management looks so clean. It doesn't look like there's going to be any issues with our cables getting in the way at all. Quick look at the frame. Looks like our connections are here for our SD card, our USB, our power module. Here's our power button. Do have safety features as well. We have a stop button right on it, as well as a interesting feature. It's a key lockout. So if you have, I would say probably young children, and you're worried about them getting into things, you could actually lock this unit right out with a key, which is a really nice feature. And on the front of our unit, looks like we have some built-in buttons. So we have the home button, the framing button, some arrows we can move the X and Y axis, a play pause button. So it looks to me like you could actually run this thing directly off of an SD card. I'm not sure, we'll have to look into that to verify, but I've personally been using Lightburn. That's what I'm familiar with. So that's what I'll likely be doing, is just connecting my laptop and doing something with Lightburn. Let's see what our instructions are telling us to do for assembly. So our 4 stands, riser stands, are attached. Second step, connecting the machine to the air pump. Alright. So on our air pump itself, there's a little rubber cap on top here. Just unplug the rubber plug in the air nozzle and connect the silicone tube from our machine. So attached to the machine, pre-assembled, here we have our silicone air tube. That's going to connect right here to our air pump, just like so. And the power cable for our air pump plugs right into the side, opposite of our power button. So over here, side, yes, we have a connection right here for our air pump. So just over here on the left side, we have what looks like almost looks like an S-video connection. There it goes. Step 3, installing the laser module. So again, everything is pretty well pre-assembled. So here's the bracket for our laser module itself. Has one electrical connector to it. And this is an interesting feature too of our laser module. So on the front of our laser module, looks like we have 3 lights. So we have our lights that are labeled air, fire, and lens. And if we look at the side, it looks like they're warning lights, kind of like a set of traffic lights, red, yellow, or green. So for the air light, our green light is strong airflow, yellow is weak, red is no airflow. Fire button, green, no flame detected, orange, there's a fire hazard, and red, fire is detected. And then for our lens light, looks like it's telling us if our lens needs a cleaning. So green, no contamination, yellow, lens is slightly dirty, red, it's seriously dirty. So excellent, some good visual references there, also some safety features built right into our laser module. So for the laser module, looks like it just slides into this channel. Right here. And there's 2 thumb screws. That you just lock it into place. And that's that. Connect it with the adapter board and fix the module cable in the silicone tube with the cable management clips. Alright, so right here on the top of the frame, we have an electrical connector. put this one here for now. Alright. It looks like it goes in our pictures right on top of our laser module. So there's a little rubber cap right on top of our laser module with a brass nipple that the other end of our silicone tube from our air pump is going to go onto. So there we go. It's a little interpreting the instructions from the pictures because that step's not included, but it's quite obvious when you're looking at it, and that's where the other end goes. So the other thing that's different with this laser module is compared to the little 5-watt unit I have, and a lot I've researched as well, it looks like our air assist pump is blowing air directly through our laser module, which is nice. So that's going to force all of our air out. The one I have has a little fitting that goes right on the bottom of the laser head with air coming in the side. So the air comes in the side and pushes air out that way. This looks like it's going right through the unit, so I'm not sure if that helps cool the unit itself, but it is a little different design than what I'm used to. Again, I'm pretty new to this, but I have researched a lot of the different units. Alright, well that looks to be about it for assembly other than our power. So this is a good idea. So this doesn't come included with the unit. I believe you can buy it as a package, but if you're going to be doing laser engraving or cutting, it's a very good idea to have a stainless steel or aluminum honeycomb table underneath here that you can set your material on. Makes a much better job when you're cutting material, especially. It allows the smoke and the flame to not just be held between a flat surface and your material, because that can cause a lot of extra burn on the underside of your material. So that honeycomb table really helps that. I do not have one at the moment, so I think for our first project today I'll just be doing an engraving. Engraving, you don't really need that table, but you do want to be careful that whenever you start using your laser, you don't want to damage whatever you have underneath if it's a good table or something you don't want to get burned. So the other thing that comes included is this little, I think it's aluminum, this little aluminum piece right here. So this is our focusing step. So it has 3 different steps on it. If you can see that in the picture, but it's shaped like steps, little stairs. So the top, the highest level, it's labeled for engraving. So it looks like all of our engraving would be focused at that highest step, but it's also for cutting. It says cutting thickness of basswood from 1 to 3 millimeters. So it looks like that highest step is going to be for all engraving and for cutting of very thin plywood. Our middle step is for cutting thicknesses of basswood from 4 to 6 millimeters. So when you're on that middle step, you're a little bit closer to the material. So it looks like if you're cutting thicker material, obviously you would put it closer. And our bottom step is for cutting basswood that's more than 6 millimeters. Now, it says basswood on it. I guess you would have to just assume that if you're cutting thicker material, you're going to be focusing our laser closer to the material. If you're cutting thin, it's focused further away. But for our purposes, all engraving look to be done focused at the highest step. So we'll be using that before we start our project. And handily enough, it came with 3 pieces of what I'll assume is basswood plywood, but 3 little pieces of plywood. Now, before I do anything, I am going to put something underneath this, just for a little extra protection, so I don't burn my coffee table. Alright, so I'm going to set this somewhere in the middle. not exactly flat. Alright, let's try that. So I'll set this under here. Looks like we set our steps on top of our material, our focal steps. Can loosen our thumb screws to drop our laser module down until it's touching that step. And retighten our thumb screws. And there it is, locked into place. All right. Now, it says right in our instructions the machine can be controlled with laser, gerbil, or light burn. When I first started out laser engraving, I did start with laser gerbil. It is very useful. You can probably do a lot with laser gerbil. Personally, when I made the switch to light burn, I just found it much more user friendly. I don't have any background in this stuff. So I just found personally light burn was just so user friendly. It was a lot easier for me to use. Yes, there is an annual fee you pay, but it's really not that much, and I think there's a lot more I can personally do with light burn. So I liked it much better. Alright. So it looks like it's just telling us you can control it from our PC, of course, with a USB-C cable. So that would be our USB connection right here. Or you can work right off of a memory card. So this is interesting. I'm not sure I'm going to get into that today. I know how to use the computer. I know how to use Lightburn, so that's probably what I'll do, just to make life easier for today. But it looks like we can use this standalone from our computer if we have a G-code file installed on a flash drive. And it looks to be like a micro SD card. And that's it for setup. Power supply, and then it looks like we're ready to go. So I'm going to set up this power supply, turn our unit on, connect to the computer, fire up Lightburn, and see if we can't burn a little project here. Stay tuned. Alright, so our power supply is connected. However, because I'm making this video on my laptop, I realize I am too far away from the laptop to connect the machine to Lightburn. However, I did come across something very cool. Included in our little toolbox was a micro SD card that came with the machine. And if we look on this micro SD card, it comes with a lot of the stuff that was included in the box in paper format. So it comes with our operating manual, it comes with our little quick start guide. It also comes with some sample files. A lot of other useful information in here too. Has some parameters, so that's really useful if you're wondering what should your speed and power be for cutting certain materials. They've given a few samples on this SD card we could have a look at after. But if we were to go right into our sample files, it comes with files for the 3 different machines, so for the 12 watt, the 22 watt, and the 40 watt. And since we are working with the 22 watt Falcon 2, we can open that, and we have 2 subfolders for cutting and one for engrave and cut. So I think for our purposes today, we will do the engrave and cut. And there it is. There is our file that we can open up. In this case on the computer it would be in Lightburn, so this is what it would look like. However, since I am too far away from the computer to use Lightburn, we are going to try to do it directly off of the micro SD card. And in our quick start guide we do have a flow sheet to follow working with the TF card. So that's what we're going to try. we're going to try to power up the machine and do our sample cut and engrave directly off the micro SD card. So let's see if we can get that to work. So what we'll do now is we're going to try to do this test burn. So I have Lightburn set up with the file opened. So what we're going to do is power up our machine. Alright, here we go. So my material is in the middle of the machine, so I'm going to manually move my laser roughly to the center. Choose current position for my coordinates, and I'm going to frame that there and see what it looks like. So far it's looking good. So I'm going to go ahead and try to run this file and see what happens. Put my glasses on for safety. Let's start this and see what she looks like. So far it's looking good. So this is showing me, this is about a 17.5-minute burn, engrave and cut. So we're going to let this go, and we'll speed up the video to make this go by a little faster, and we'll see what the final result looks like. Just another comment is I did try to run this directly off the SD card without the use of Lightburn in the laptop. Never tried anything like that before. Not familiar at all with it, but I couldn't get it to orient itself correctly. So it seemed like it would always frame correctly, but when I tried to start the project, it would always start off of the material. So that's something I'll probably end up playing around with a little more. Out of the box, I did not find that feature very easy to use, but so far just connecting it to Lightburn for the first time, everything seems to be working perfect. Alright, so there's our burn done. I'm going to power off our unit here. Let's see what we got. So here is our test sample, engrave and cut. So the engraving is really crisp, clear, one pass cut, really easy with that roughly 3mm plywood. Cut it no problem at all. So excellent. I'm really happy with the end result. The machine was super easy to assemble. I mean, the frame comes fully assembled as is. It was a matter of putting on our laser module, connecting our air pump, our 4 legs, and our power supply. I would say about 30 minutes we went from assembly to having our first little project completed. Just a quick note, something I learned the hard way. This did take me a little longer because my laptop decided to go into hibernation mode halfway through my first attempt at this product. So this is what happened. I got about a third through. The laptop decided to hibernate and timed out, which will cause a disconnect from your machine when the laptop goes to sleep. So if you're in the middle of any kind of engraving or cutting project, make sure your PC or your laptop settings are such that when it's connected to the AC, that it will not go into hibernation mode. The computer will not go to sleep, causing you to have to restart your project. But other than that, this was really easy. I'm very pleased with the end result. Huge shout out to my friends at Creality. This Falcon 2 22 watt unit I think is exactly what I'm looking for. I'm really looking forward to getting to try some different projects with this, getting into some glass engraving, some metal engraving. So yeah, please go and check out our friends at Creality if you're at all interested in laser engraving. So far, I highly recommend this machine just for the ease of assembly, the features it offers. I think it's exactly what I'm looking for. And yeah, huge shout out to my friend Kevin over at Creality. He's going to be posting this video to his YouTube channel, so I encourage you to follow it. Creality 3D behind the scenes is the YouTube handle. So have a look at that. He's got a lot of other content up there related to 3D printing as well. And I'm going to be hopefully posting you a lot more videos with some of my different projects. Things I'm going to be learning along the way. Hopefully it'll be able to help you, whether that's just different speeds and settings to be using. It'll be a lot of trial and error on my part, but I'm looking forward to seeing what this machine is capable of. Thanks for watching, and you'll be seeing more of me.